try to get a little bit of a closer view. So there you go, and that's another kind of beautiful thing about working with WildEarth and live TV, because sometimes we really do like to kind of cater to you guys, and so in some cases you guys have a little bit of say what goes on. So yeah, if you ask us questions, we'll try and do that. So we had a question from Claire wondering if we could zoom in on the elephant's ears, and yeah, here's the ears, and the elephants are definitely fascinating to watch, as I was saying. Yeah. And you can tell it's kind of hot because he is giving himself a mud bath to kind of help cool down, as well as get rid of some of the parasites as well. Let's see. It's hard to say. Someone was asking, is he left or right tusk? Hard to make out. Almost looks like he could be a little bit of a left tusk, because that appears to be a little bit shorter, but I'm not too sure. One second. I'll zoom out. And then here he is again, just another kind of overview look of him. Yeah, it's kind of amazing to watch the various animals that come down to the water hole. And actually, turn up the sound a little bit on the water hole to see if we can hear it. Yeah, that's one of the ways that we can kind of tell animals around the watering hole, because usually we hear some big splashes and stuff like that. Like last night with the hyenas, all of a sudden I just hear a splash and kind of go to the water hole to see what was there, and just hyenas jumping into the watering hole for a little bit and then popping out again. Oh, and I was also thinking about, we had a question yesterday from, I believe it was Simon in the UK, was wondering if we've encountered any kind of what were some of the funny moments kind of captured here on WildEarth. There was one that I managed to see on the FCC, but didn't get a chance to cut to, because I believe Rexon was in the middle of a sighting and was mentioning something, and when I was looking at the watering hole cams, hyena came down to take a drink and actually scared itself with its own reflection, came down to the water, and just all of a sudden looked down at the water and jumped back, and kind of like, what? It was a little bit scared of its own reflection, so that was kind of pretty funny to watch. So yeah, there's definitely interesting moments here at WildEarth, and that's one of the beauty things, is that you never know what's going to be around the next corner. So as you're driving, like this morning, just as they were going kind of across the one road near the watering hole, this Karula just happened to be there, which Karula is one of the female leopards around here. So yeah, it's kind of amazing. And yeah, just to let everybody know, we're coming down to the last about 10 minutes or so. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to send them in now. We'll be able to answer a few more. So yeah, if you have any questions, just send them in the chat room, or once again to Final Control at wildearth.tv. And yeah, and you can also send those in at any time. So where if you have some, I know that for some of you it's really early in the morning or late at night, depends on how you look at it, so you don't get to catch the WeChats live, but like I say, a lot of the viewers do record it and put them up on the website and post them. So yeah, if you have any questions that we might be able to answer, and you guys will be able to kind of catch that at the recording. Yeah. Looks like we have some comments mentioning Ems really enjoyed the little skin book yesterday at the water hole. Yeah, I really actually do love those antelopes. They're just the smallest ones, and they're just beautiful, and the light always seems to hit them right. And I'm going to try at some point to get some pictures of them, some large frame pictures for them. And we have some comments about the warthogs that are pretty funny as well. They kind of come down to the watering hole and kind of use some of the rocks to scratch, and it is really funny to look at them. Thanks for mentioning that, Afremu. And got a question. Do we know how many acres or hectares were burnt the other night at Kruger? This is from Ems. I'm not too sure how many acres or hectares were burnt. Do you know? And Peter doesn't know as well, so I'm not too sure. I'm sure that you can probably Google it, and there'll probably be some news on that. So I'm not too sure. I'll have to look into that for you because that'd be interesting to know how much it was burnt. Yeah.
But one thing to remember also with these fires, and of course it depends on the exact area that they happen in, but if you do get a fire caused by lightning, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because that's the way nature works, and in the past definitely lightning strikes were the only cause of fire starting, and so it's a natural way of the veldt actually to burn and to regenerate itself. It obviously depends a bit on, if it happens close to a lodge or anything like that, then it could be a problem, or if other parts of the veldt have already been burned just briefly before, maybe the year before, then it could pose a little problem. But just by itself, having a fire that's caused by a lightning storm is not necessarily a bad thing. I've seen a couple of those. Well, those were controlled fires done in Suzlui and Velosi when I was there, I think 6 years ago. And just even the next days afterwards, you see other animals move in. You see the grass regenerating itself. So, yeah, of course, even in an area like Kruger, which is managed, they try to plan all their burns and their controlled burns. But if one happens due to a firestorm, as I said, it depends on where and how exactly. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. It could actually be a good thing in that sense, because it's natural. But yeah, sometimes because there was quite a lot of wind, they can burn very strongly. And of course, you do want to make sure that you don't get it too close to a lodge, because most lodges they use natural materials, thatches for the roofs and things like that. So especially in dry times like this, you want to make sure that the fire doesn't come too close, or that if there's too much wind, that burning embers land on your roof or things like that. So, it depends on the situation. Whose parents live? Was that? Oh, Nala's parents, as he said, they live 2 hours from Suzlui and Velosi. Yeah, it's a great park. I've been there, I think 6 years ago as a volunteer for 2 weeks, where we went out walking every day with a ranger to count all the herbivores. That was a great experience, and I've been back there since I was in South Africa now a couple of times, and I must say it's really one of my favorite places, especially the southern part, actually the Velosi part of it. There's so many animals there, and it's a great place to be. Yeah. If you have a house from there, or your parents 2 weeks from there, or 2 hours from there, I must say, not 2 weeks. It sounds more like the days of Livingstone, when you had to take 2 weeks to travel anywhere. That's great, because then you can just go for a weekend or stuff like that. So, it's a great place. It's also one of the, together with Kruger, I think it's only those two, or maybe there's one more like Pilansburg or something, where you actually can get natural wild dog populations without artificial breeding and interchanging programs, because wild dogs they have a very big territory. They move over big, or not territory necessarily, a home range, which is an area that they move through. And for a healthy wild dog population, you need to have changes between the packs. So animals from one pack, actually they leave the pack and join another one, just to get the genetic diversity in. And because they need so much space, and you need a certain number of packs to have let's say a healthy population, there's only a very limited number of areas that you can actually have them. Kruger is one, Suzlui and Velosi is another one where they have quite a healthy wild dog population. In smaller reserves they also have packs of wild dogs, but to simulate the interchange between the packs, what they do there is at certain times they capture a couple of the animals. They keep a very detailed breeding records, and then they move animals from one reserve to another one, and they move animals. So they move them around actually to simulate the natural interchange between packs, because most reserves don't have the space for that. I think Suzlui, if I remember correctly, I think it's about 1,000 square kilometers, which is about 100,000 hectares. Which is just about, let's say, the minimum size that you can do that on. And Kruger, of course, is 2 million hectares, so that's definitely large enough for that. But yeah, there are not too many places in South Africa where you have 1,000 square kilometer game reserves anymore, unfortunately.